Think about the clothes you're wearing, the food you're eating, or even the furniture in your home. There is a story and history associated with every product you've ever bought. Unfortunately, sometimes the workers who make your products are subjected to terrible working conditions, are not treated fairly, or the manufacturing process is harmful to the environment. There are many forms of modern slavery and damaging production methods, but it's up to us, industry leaders and the consumers themselves, to take a stand so that we can contribute to a healthier planet and to changing the lives of everyone involved across the global supply chains for the better. Ethical Trade Alliance enables buyers to make informed choices on all of the products they purchase.
Hi everyone, welcome to a special episode of ASEAN in Focus, where we're talking about all the 10 member nations of ASEAN and how they really provide such an amazing market opportunity for Australian companies. On today's episode, I'm joined by Alma Argayoso, who's a special trade representative from the Department of Trade and Investment for the Philippines. Hi Alma, how are you?
Hi Lawrence, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Always great to see you, and looking amazing there in the Sydney studio. Well, your Sydney office, it looks like a studio. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be part of this ASEAN in Focus series for ImportExportTV.com channel. And I'd like to congratulate you on the success of this channel, which is the first and only 24/7 channel dedicated to international trade and global supply chains.
Thanks so much, Alma. That means a lot. And we are definitely wanted to use the channel to showcase all the amazing and exciting things about international trade and global development. So thanks for those kind words. We appreciate it. Alma, to kick off, what are the key inbound and outbound industry sectors for the Philippines?
Well, the Philippines has a robust electronics and semiconductor industry with strong support industries. The country also offers itself as a strategic partner in services with its large, young, educated, and tech-savvy population. So this is a resource that will be critical in responding to the challenges and opportunities in the digital and interconnected new economy. As Australian and New Zealand companies pursue expansion strategies, they can partner with the Philippines with its excellent track record in supporting global operations of companies from all over the world. The strong customer service orientation of our workforce also makes the Philippines an ideal location for services getting in touch with its customers globally.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's so much great advanced technology and the customer service that the Philippines offer is amazing as well. And Alma, what about, what are the current and the future trade opportunities and investment opportunities between the Philippines and Australia and, let's say, even ASEAN?
Well, we just launched a new investments promotion campaign, the Make It Happen in the Philippines International Marketing Campaign, which highlights the Philippines' strength and adaptability to weather through challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic. With our distinctly Filipino roll up your sleeves, make it work mindset that makes us a unique and attractive landscape for strategic sectors in ASEAN region for foreign investors. For this new campaign, we are focusing on 5 priority sectors, namely electronics, automotive, aerospace, copper, and IT business process management. For electronics, the Philippines is an indispensable part of the electronics global value chain and is a center of excellence for electronic manufacturing services. We are particularly strong in test, packaging, and assembly of semiconductors, and we will be establishing a dedicated center of support integrated circuit or IC design. We are ready to become the home of competitive IC design companies serving customers worldwide with a growing pool of our IC design engineers. Investment opportunities are in electronics manufacturing, chip design, and original product design and development works for cutting-edge products and technologies in healthcare, automotive, and aerospace, including autonomous vehicle batteries and smart wearables. For automotive, the Philippine automotive industry is already integrated with major global value chains. Companies like Fujitsu, Continental, and Miyazaki already know how to help or already know how to make it happen in the Philippines. Likewise, the aerospace industry in the Philippines is ready for takeoff. Our aerospace industry is one of the fastest growing in the Asia Pacific region. We are well positioned to become the hub for manufacturing and aftermarket services in the Asia Pacific aerospace industry. Our capabilities include flight actuation systems, interiors, lavatories, galleys, oxygen systems, panel assembly, and product design engineering. The Philippines can also cater for the rising demand of fleets to be catered for maintenance, repair, and overhaul services with our capabilities in line maintenance, base maintenance, and aircraft inspections and structural repairs. For copper, we are one of the highly mineralized countries in the world with abundant reserves of copper. Our technical expertise and extraction means that we can produce a wide variety of copper goods to service many other industries. Moreover, for IT BPM, which is one of our strongest industries at the moment, we have the edge when it comes to voice-related services as well as non-voice services. So Acquire, Telstra, Macquarie, ANZ, GSO are among the companies who trust us with their business.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think those 5 key sectors are definitely growth sectors right around the region and globally. So congratulations on that. And I love the slogan, make it happen in the Philippines. It's so true. And I think that there is an amazing work ethic right across the country. So congratulations on that. Alma, can I ask you, the whole situation with the pandemic, how has that impacted the Philippines? What's the consumer and business climate like? And how do you see that panning out in the future?
Yes, well, I'm very glad to share that prior to the pandemic, we had a very strong economic fundamentals. We were growing at 6.6% from 2016 to 2019. However, of course, as with the other countries, we have registered our first economic contraction in 2 decades in the first quarter of 2020. So our unemployment rate reached a record high of 17.7%, or equivalent to 7.3 million Filipinos who have lost their jobs. Businesses were down because of the quarantine restrictions, which was actually the longest in I think, ASEAN. And consumer demand, well, of course, were also affected. However, as restrictions are now being eased, we expect industry output, consumer demand, and employment to increase in the coming months.
Great. And I think one of those other things that I've seen happen right across the world is that the global disruptions to supply chains, once COVID hit, especially earlier in the year, so many companies realized that they couldn't source all their products out of one nation, and they were focused on sole export markets for their markets as well. I think there's been a diversification of companies now looking for the, alternative supply markets such as the Philippines and other ASEAN countries, but even as export opportunities. So, what have you experienced with some of these disruptions? Have you experienced an increase in inquiries for the Philippine trade and investment?
Yes, absolutely, Lawrence. We are busier now than ever before because of the many opportunities arising from this crisis, both for sourcing and export opportunities. Yeah. During the early part of the pandemic, there was a great demand for PPEs such as masks, gloves, and other materials. And we have searched from all over the world to ensure sufficient supply of these materials to help us fight COVID-19. But I would like to highlight that during the pandemic period, the Philippines did not impose import-export restrictions. In fact, the importation of health equipment and supplies deemed critical or needed to address the COVID-19 public health emergency were given exemption from duties, taxes, and fees. Import requirements as well as application and registration process of needed medical supplies, equipment, and protective equipment, such as COVID-19 critical commodities, were also streamlined. But we have launched during the middle of the pandemic a program called Repurposing of Manufacturing Program, where we have invited companies to repurpose their operations to produce essential products needed to address the pandemic. So because of that, our supply has stabilized and we are now, in fact, capable to export our supply to other countries. So for instance, for masks, we were importing heavily in the beginning, but because we have asked the companies to repurpose their operations, we now have excess capacity that we could now supply to other countries. So if there are requirements for masks and other essential products, we do have the production capability. And or for those who still would like to locate in the Philippines, to make the Philippines as a base to manufacture these essential products for distribution to ASEAN and other countries, we're very much ready to welcome you to our country.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's amazing ability to be agile and really, as they say, Alma, pivot into the reproduction and the reproducing of that, repurposing, I should say. That's great. It's fantastic. So what about, so many companies now will be listening to this and thinking, yes, I want to reach out. Let's see how I can maybe do some joint ventures or manufacturing over there. What are the type of government support programs that you offer through the Philippines?
Well, the government support that we have is not specific to a particular country or investor, say Australia or New Zealand, but it's available for all who are already doing business in the Philippines or wishing to do business with the Philippines. In terms of government support, presently we are continuing to improve ease of doing business in the country with the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Delivery Service Act of 2018. This law mandates all government agencies to act on issuance of permits and licenses within 3 to a maximum of 20 working days. Our lawmakers will also be enacting very, very soon a new investment incentives regime called the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises, or CREATE Act. Among others, it will reduce the corporate tax to 20%. And then it will provide the president the flexibility in granting fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for high-value strategic investments, including longer time period for enjoying income tax holidays and subsidies for key cost items. Aside from that, we have, of course, launched also, or the lawmakers have signed a stimulus package to help save companies and jobs while providing income opportunities that will improve consumer confidence and stimulate demand. This is expected to attract more production activities and create a better business environment for investments. On DTI's part, we are now boosting our e-commerce program, which is very important at this time, and promotion strategies to maximize the potentials of the digital economy. We've established a provision for funding for our small and medium enterprises with our COVID-19 Assistance to Restart Enterprises, or CARES program, to help enterprises affected by the pandemic. For non-financial support for SMEs, we are offering entrepreneurship training and counseling, as well as programs on transforming business models, e-commerce, financial advisory, and innovation. Aside from pushing greater focus on smart manufacturing, health products, and IT, DTI is also endorsing a bill to regulate charges and rates of international shipping lines to address the high cost of international shipping. So because this was a particular issue that the Philippine government had to address during the lockdown to allow sufficient supply of food and other essential products to our people.
Those sound like amazing initiatives, great programs. I particularly like around the shipping and cost rationalisation as well, because it has been a major challenge right around the world. So congratulations on those programs. And it sounds like, obviously, you're based in Sydney, but you can support any company's inquiries throughout Australia with you and the team there, with June as well. So we definitely encourage all the viewers to reach out, explore these amazing programs, support packages, and opportunities for both trade and investment with the Philippines. Finally, before we wrap up, Alma, what are the tips and advice you'd like to tell the viewers, and how best they can make the most out of the opportunities there in the Philippines?
Yes, well, I believe that, well, the best people, of course, who could give tips and advice to Australian companies wanting to do business with our country would be the traders and foreign investors who have operations in the Philippines. And what they have always shared to prospective companies is to ensure that they're dealing with legitimate companies and organizations to learn about the country and its culture, which is very important because you cannot just assume that just because you speak English and are very westernized we're the same. There are certain nuances in the culture that must be understood. Another important advice is to have people on the ground and to really understand the country, the laws and regulations, and all aspects of doing business in the Philippines. And well, of course, they're not alone because we are there to help them with that. Our agency, the Philippine Trade and Investment Center, and the Board of Investments in the Philippines, as well as other attached agencies, are ready to help traders, investors, and entrepreneurs make it happen in the Philippines.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Alma. It's been an absolute delight to have you on the show and part of this whole program. You know, really appreciate you taking the time. There's so many exciting opportunities. Although we've all experienced this global pandemic that has brought to the surface a whole range of new opportunities and ideas. So congratulations to all the work that you and the team are doing both here in Australia and over in the Philippines. Look forward to speaking to you again very soon and have you back on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alma. So there you've heard from Alma Argayoso, who's a special trade representative from the Department of Trade and Investment of the Philippines in the Sydney office. But as you heard, they've got some fantastic programs that can support any Australian company with inquiries to really take advantage of some really incredible work that's happening over there in the Philippines. So thanks to Alma for joining us today. Stick around after the break. We'll come back with another exciting segment straight after this. Take care.
Think about the clothes you're wearing, the food you're eating, or even the furniture in your home. There is a story and history associated with every product you've ever bought. Unfortunately, sometimes the workers who make your products are subjected to terrible working conditions, are not treated fairly, or the manufacturing process is harmful to the environment. There are many forms of modern slavery and damaging production methods, but it's up to us, industry leaders and the consumers themselves, to take a stand so that we can contribute to a healthier planet and to changing the lives of everyone involved across the global supply chains for the better. Ethical Trade Alliance enables buyers to make informed choices on all of the products they purchase.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm now got the pleasure of being joined by Mutakapaw, who's the Director General of Myantrade, the Myanmar Trade Promotion Organisation, part of the Ministry of Commerce. Hi, Noel. How are you?
Hi. Oh, fine.
Thanks so much for joining us all the way from Myanmar. It's been it's great to have you on the show and talk about all these trade and investment opportunities between Myanmar, Australia, and the broader ASEAN region. Can I ask, Noel, firstly, what are the key inbound and outbound industry sectors for Myanmar?
Yes. Myanmar, being the agriculture-based country, our major industry is in agriculture sector. So we also export quite a quantity of agriculture products, and we would like to invite the agriculture-related technology industry to invest in Myanmar so that we can produce value-added agriculture products.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think Australia's got a lot of experience with agriculture and farming, so I'm sure there must be some great industry opportunities between the two countries. Noel, what are the current and future trade and investment opportunities you believe there may be between Myanmar and Australia?
Yeah. I know that Australia is have a very strict regulations for the agriculture products. We, being the agricultural exporting countries, we need a lot of technology and technical assistance. So for the bilateral trade promotion, we can have more collaboration with Australian investors and technicians so as to exchange their technical know-how experience so that we can promote our export. And apart from that, Myanmar is a very large country with very abundant natural resources, including the human resources. So we would like to encourage the labor-intensive manufacturing industries so that we can export more labor-intensive products like garment, textile and garment, ready-made garment, clothing.
Great. Yeah, that's a lot of within that region. I've got a lot of textile and, as you say, some strong labour opportunities there as well. So, Noel, what about, I mean, that's great between Australia, and I think there are a number of viewers who will look at this episode and hear what you've just said around agriculture and labour value add opportunities, and I'm sure they'll want to get in touch with you and discover more about Myanmar. What about, how would you describe Myanmar's place within the ASEAN region, and what are the values, and how does it fit within the whole 10-country region?
Yes, Myanmar is located in a very big market, as you know, between India and China, and also linked to other ASEAN region, especially Thailand. So we have a big market around our country, about 3 billion population market. So our situation, the Myanmar situation is very located in a very strategic location, and this will be very prospecting for our export, so that we can extend and enhance our export. But we would like to have more collaboration and cooperation from Australia, including the technology and technical know-how.
Wonderful. Great. Thanks, Noel. Noel, the global pandemic has impacted every country all over the world. What's it been like in Myanmar, and what's the current both business and consumer feeling, the environment, how are they feeling around the pandemic situation?
Yes, due to the current pandemic, the economic situation is slowing down. But fortunately, our export for the past period, our export is not very much decreased, but significantly we seen the decrease starting from the last 2 months. And because of, I think it might be because of the weaker demand from our market, and so our export seems a little bit decreased.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that many countries have experienced that because of the, as you say, the disruptions. And that leads me to my next question, Noel. There's been so many disruptions to global supply chains. Many companies in the Western markets who have relied so comfortably on traditional sourcing markets, they've all been disrupted over COVID and the pandemic. Have you noticed that this disruption in supply chain has created some opportunities or increased interest with Myanmar from other markets?
Yes, we hope that this will be also an opportunity for Myanmar, because we produce agricultural products which we have potential for agri-based foodstuff industry.
Right. And what about, so if there's a company from Australia or from other markets who want to come into Myanmar and do some joint venture projects or look at investment, does the government offer there some support programs, or what are the type of incentives that provide offshore investment and inbound investment?
Yes, the Australian investment is mostly welcome, as you have a very high technical, and we also need the technical and also the capital for our industry sector. And we have a Myanmar investment law which have prescribed the incentive for the investor. And one thing I consider is the important is that your Australian investor should also have a very good partnership or contact with our Myanmar business partners. And last 3 days ago, our Myanmar ambassador in Canberra called me, and we would like to cooperate with Myanmar embassy in Canberra. And also next week, we will send one commercial counselor from our ministry to base in Canberra, so that the Australian investors and business people can contact the Myanmar embassy in Canberra, and we would like to have a more collaborate and close relation. And we look forward for more investment and also trade from Australia.
Fantastic. I look forward to, hopefully we'll get a chance to meet the new commercial consul from Myanmar when they arrive. I'd love to reach out to them and maybe get them on the show as well in the future, so we can promote the opportunities and introduce them to the Australian viewers. That would be fantastic.
Thank you.
So no, what, I think it sounds like there's some great opportunities. Myanmar, people know that it is in a great location to be springboard between the world's two biggest markets with India and China. It's a great footprint and springboard into the whole ASEAN region as well. What tips and advice, obviously there's cultural knowledge, there's business knowledge. What tips and advice would you like to give Australian viewers who are looking to do business in Myanmar?
Yes, I would like to say that Myanmar is a last frontier for this region, and we have just finished our general election, and we hope that the new administration will be more efficient and more business friendly, and we would like to welcome and advise the Australian business people to have more closer engagement with our Myanmar business people.
Wonderful. Yep, I think that, as you say, there's a lot of upside, a lot of opportunity with Myanmar, and I know that Australian companies and other companies who watch these show, other countries I should say, who watch this series are very interested in looking at up-and-coming markets, opportunities. Now more than ever with the pandemic, it's really shaken everything up, and so many companies around the world are looking for new sourcing, new export opportunities, new investment opportunities, and I'm sure Myanmar represents some great things there that they can take advantage of. So thank you so much, Noor. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and we look forward to staying in touch. And as I said earlier, I'd be very honoured to interview the new commercial consul once they arrive in Canberra, and we'd love to welcome them to the Australian market on this show.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So you've just heard there from Mutakapaw, who's the Director General of Myantrade. As you've just heard, they've got great opportunities in agricultural, R&D, whole range of technical advice there, but they've also got a really wonderful workforce there as labour force that you can take advantage of. Look at the value add. They are in an ideal position across ASEAN and the broader Asian region. So find out more, get in touch with Noor at her team. We'll have the details. Or, as you've heard, very soon the commercial consul will be arriving in Canberra, and you'll be able to have another access point there as well. So thanks so much for watching today's episode. I'm sure you found it informative and hopefully inspiring as well about how you can do business with these fantastic ASEAN countries. Look forward to speaking to you again very soon on our next episode. Thank you.
Think about the clothes you're wearing, the food you're eating, or even the furniture in your home. There is a story and history associated with every product you've ever bought. Unfortunately, sometimes the workers who make your products are subjected to terrible working conditions, are not treated fairly, or the manufacturing process is harmful to the environment. There are many forms of modern slavery and damaging production methods, but it's up to us, industry leaders and the consumers themselves to take a stand so that we can contribute to a healthier planet and to changing the lives of everyone involved across the global supply chains for the better. Ethical Trade Alliance enables buyers to make informed choices on all of the products they purchase.